the fact might be.
Right.
So it doesn't really impact those that are sitting in the jails.
Right. And I think for me, the question is, how do we address this crisis of accountability? Right? Because we know it's happening. We've already diagnosed the problem, and it is exactly that. It's disingenuous. How do we hold lawmakers accountable and say, that's not really what you're doing? And so stop lying, right? Those are the conversations I'm interested in having.
Okay. All right. That's interesting, because when you deal with issues of accountability, at the end of the day, for most of the politicians, it's about running for re-election, and they do this and see which way the wind is blowing. And if the wind is blowing in one direction, that's the direction. So right now, it seems to be moving back towards lock them up and throw away the key. Trump is talking about bringing back stop and frisk, or basically on a national level. It got overturned. And
listen to that. Akbar Pray got a new podcast called The Urban Perspectives on YouTube. The Urban Perspectives with Akbar Pray. Y'all need to holler at that. Check that out. That's gonna be real dope. Big Gov. BJ Valid. Thanks for tapping in. Where's Ty? Where you at, Ty? DJ 117. Ask About Me. I Am Black Diamond. Thanks for tapping in to WePopNSon. Let me put my headphones on. I think the sound quality be better, more consistent when I do that. And let me close the door. But yeah, Akbar Praise, his podcast is called Akbar Praise. His podcast is called The Urban Perspectives on YouTube. The Urban Perspectives with Akbar Pray. You might make sure it says with Akbar Pray, because there's one that's very similar called The Urban Perspective, but that's not Akbar's joint. And the first interview he did was with a sister. She's a brilliant abolitionist, in terms of like incarceration and shit like that, right? She's a lawyer. She does a lot of death row defense. She got Obama to give a young man clemency who had been locked up, nonviolent cat, locked up for some drugs. He had been locked up since he was a teenager. And of the 8 people, I think this is during Obama's first tenure as the guy in the seat. And so the sister's name is My Angel, Miangel, and her last name, let me get her last name. But dope sister, super dope sister. And that conversation that her and Akbar had is definitely something that we should be tapping into. I was talking to Ty about it earlier, and about the conversation that they had, and just listening to some of the verbiage, right? Some of the words that were key to their conversation, right? And how so few, even though their conversation and what they were saying, this is them right here. Her name is My Angel Cody. She's a lawyer. And so, their conversation, the things they're talking about, we right, Ty? What's that? M3R Crew World? Merce World. Okay. What's going on, Merce World? Baltimore History Channel. Thanks for tapping in, family. Big Wiz. Oh shit, my battery. Hold on. Big Wiz Woman. Thanks for tapping in. Still waiting for Ty to come and get in with us. I appreciate y'all being here with us, man. And, you know, whatever we get into this evening, for this hour, I want to make sure that we definitely, you know, say some things about the consistency. Like, when I was running around the street, cats were largely ignorant about what the real dangers of being in the street were. You know, they knew you could get killed, and you could get robbed. They knew you could get, you know, locked up. They knew you can go to jail if you get locked up. But they didn't have any, it's like they were just spinning a wheel with a blindfold on. They didn't have any type of recourse. They didn't save money for lawyers. They didn't keep a lawyer back when you could keep a lawyer and retain it. You can't really, and if you're not a legitimate person with legitimate means, and you got a lawyer on retainer, and you're just paying your lawyer, you know, every month you just drop, you know, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 on your lawyer.
In New York with the judge.
That can be a problem. That can create an issue for you. You know what I mean? GBE Biz. He just said Preem wasn't lying when he told you that kid was not to be trusted. Time tells all things, don't it? It's a pattern, ain't it? What up, Ty? It's a pattern. It's a pattern, bro. It's a pattern. But I'm gonna tell you, you ain't no controlling, ain't no manipulating Meech. None. You can forget about it. The federal government couldn't do it. And they didn't do it. You'll have to show me, and even that might be questionable, but you'd have to show me official paperwork. And if y'all want real clarity on that situation as it pertains to Meech and his fidelity, Al Prophet just did a very, very dope piece that he dropped like a day or so ago, talking about that whole situation, paperwork. So he explains how Tammy got into doing what she was doing, Tammy Cowens. And what up, DJ 117? Ask about me.
What's so crazy is he been had that information. He just tried to wait to try to like leverage it over him, and it's like you look crazy running with the white girl talking about, yo, the white girl told me something. Like if it's true, you look like a rat. If it's not true, you look like a rat. Like, ain't no way to go run off with the white girl, try to out the black nigga and be like, nah, but I'm keeping it real with the culture. No, you're not. You manipulate it.
You know, this is a sucker culture. Ain't no two ways about it, right? You can look at the comments, and I thought about something today, right? I was looking at the comments. There was a post that Al put up, right, as a short on YouTube. And in the short, I'm telling him about the night that Wolf and Riz got killed, and how early that evening I had told Meech, yo, like, let's chill out. Let's not go out nowhere. Because it's getting real volatile. Even I'm getting volatile. What up, Life? Dr. Life Speaks is in the building. Life Speaks Life. Y'all got to follow my brother, Life Speaks Life. He was one of our brothers in the prison initiative that we did here in South Carolina. And when we were going into prison, then, you know, we had our own actual college inside of the prison where the 7 brothers got murdered. But definitely follow Life. He is the most prolific spoken word artist I've ever witnessed in my life. Unbelievable. Like inhumanly flawless in his delivery and timing and content. Mind blowing. That's Dr. Life Speaks, but his IG is Life Speaks Life. Definitely check him out. Life Speaks Life. Peace and love, my brother. Thanks for tapping in, man. RA111111. Thanks for tapping in. What's up, Sufyan? Well-rounded square. What's happening? So yeah, Al, like when this guy, you know, pulled this thing with Meech, that he's pulling right now, this is typical. And y'all got to understand the pattern, right? So I'm Al posted this video earlier. And I'm talking about that night when I said, yo, don't go out, something's gonna happen. And of course, he said, all right, real cool, we're gonna go out, we're gonna chill, wait for you to come back. And they end up, you know, you can't sit in the house, smoke weed, pop pills, and drink liquor, and with a dozen dudes and think they're gonna get antsy and itchy and want to go outside, right? So when I said chill, I mean like chill, you know what I mean? Like relax, like no pills, no weed, no liquor, just relax, my guy. Just relax, like let your mind catch up, let your mind update to what's actually happening now, because you're in a fog from a week ago at the very best. You dig? So when he posted that, there were these, I don't know what kind of, but I guess it's the sucker culture. These weirdos who obviously didn't do the most minute and simplest degree of research. Oh, lying, capping, talking about me telling this story, this well-known factual story that has been validated from 50 different angles. Bull, like everybody has, like everything I've said has been validated. It's not difficult to find out. There's something wrong with the minds, maybe even the hearts of these types of individuals, and they are legion. There are more dudes like that than aren't like that. So I don't know. I imagine these guys are, I don't know, underachieving and dissatisfied with their lives, not to disparage anybody and what they do, what they got to do, what they do for, to put their $2 together and all that, whatever. But I'm imagining that these are like, definitely like low-level minimum wage worker type cats. I say that because they tend to have the lesser degree of education. And when I say education, I don't necessarily mean, because obviously I'm a high school dropout, so I don't mean education in terms of like formal education. I'm talking about like in terms of like being informed in general, so their brains are not really functioning. They don't have anything in their head. There's nothing in their head, and they are generally not anybody that anybody pays any attention to. Their opinions are not appreciated or invited or asked for by anyone, not by their mother, father, not by their girlfriends. Nobody cares what they got to say, right? And it's a lot of them, a lot of these underachievers, a lot of these self-loathing underachievers, And I thought about it and I was like, yo, it's like sucker society, thanks to social media, sucker society has been able to kind of galvanize itself. So you got this whole, that's where you get the academics from. That's how you get the academics to become somebody prevalent like that. You know what I mean? And, anybody who consistently does sucker type shit, you notice that they get a lot of attention, a lot of support, right? There's a lot of these type of dudes, man, and they have their best case scenario representatives, where is you have a successful type, like they really like them, but they achieve some kind of success, and they sense that there's like they see the things that this person does even at their level of success, and they go, that like me. He's like me, he a sucker like me, that validates me being a sucker. You feel me? And this is why these guys are so prevalent, because anybody can see there's a consistency in this behavior. It's everybody. It's everybody. Everybody is done, did you wrong. Everybody crossed you. Everybody. You beefing and attacking and undermining everybody you did business with, everybody you dealt with, everybody that was done, everybody, and it's all them. It's never you. There's a pattern. But suckers don't care about that because they know what the pattern is. The pattern is personality. The pattern is we made this way. This is our fabric. And we resent those whom we wish we could be like. The ones we try to walk like, talk like, act like, and all that, be like. We resent them. We resent them. Suckers always resented real dudes. Always. Since the beginning of time, I would imagine. Somebody said, hold on a second, I caught that. What's up, Market Travel 99? Yeah, Trump is wilding out, Sufyan, but he's doing exactly what he said he would do, right? I guess people are so accustomed to politicians lying to them that they just figured he was just lying. And I don't understand how that could really be. So somebody calls herself Coach Gutter. She said, what you got to say about your boy snitching? I guess I just did. Go check out the piece that Al just did with the paperwork where he talks he explains exactly. He's looking at the paperwork and telling people exactly how Tammy Cowens got around Meech, how she got connected with Meech, right? And yes, I was there.
Yeah.
Okay, I was there. I was there when she first came around. Nobody paid her no attention. She tried to get next to Meech when Blue first brought her around, but that was a given. They all tried that. They all tried that. They all tried to come in through somebody else and get around Meech, and they really impressed with the person they find when they come into contact with, and then when they get around and see Meech, they be like, oh, eyes on larger prize type of thing. You dig? So yeah. Then when she reintroduces herself into his situation while he's locked up, this is 3 years after Akon and them then had the movie rights, life rights, and they did nothing with it for 3 years, right? So he's starting to think time is running out, interest is starting to wane. People have very short attention spans, like this length of a goldfish, according to the DSM-5. So when this situation came about, he contacts me. This is 2014. He says, yo, bro, this girl's gonna help us get a movie deal. I want you to connect with her and help her out any way you can. All right, smooth. Okay, we've been talking about this movie situation for a couple of years at this point, right? So, she puts me on the phone with Ethan, who at the time, that's the guy that was 50's partner in the film production thing, but he's the guy that brought 50 into the film business, into the film movie industry. And he's the one y'all saw 50 going there talking about, yo, you better have my money on Monday and all that, whatever, and was blowing them up, dogging them. 50 was dogging them all over the line. And
really blowing his name up. He really blowing his name up and giving him a look.
Talk about Ethan?
Yeah, that's what he be doing.
I mean, that's what it really comes down to. That's really what it comes down to. See, when I first introduced 50 to the 48 Laws of Power, aside from telling him, you got to be mindful about misusing this thing because it'll blow up in your face, right? I also explained to him that there were a few points in there that were very important to pay attention to. Outshining the Master is one, and that's the Akbar Pray joint that I sent to you. Outshining the Master is one to be mindful of. Playing the sucker to catch a sucker, very important, right? Mm-hmm. And what was the other one that I told him to pay particular attention to? Probably the same ones I told you and your brother paid particular attention to when I was training y'all on them.
Yeah, you gave him the same lesson, I remember.
Same one, right?
Same lesson.
So, something about the enemy, about choosing your enemies. Choosing your enemies. Very important about choosing your enemies. Don't let your enemies choose you, right? You choose your enemies. And you choose your enemy based upon what benefit there is in you having this person as a public opposition. The reason being that if you're beefing with somebody who is not your equal, physically, intellectually, situationally, then you are upgrading them to your level by responding to them. which is why I never, ever, 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 ever respond to any coward, cocksucker, punk, nobody, fake, wouldn't stand in front of me and say nothing ass dude ever. Because I know they wouldn't stand in front of me and say nothing. They wouldn't stand in front of me and say anything but, hey, hi. That's all you would do. I know it. And I also know that if I put my hands on you, you'd call the police. And I'd be in a sucker trap. You'd play me right out. You'd be looking at me laughing. I'm like, you thought I was a real nigga? I don't mind calling the police. I'm going to go right out and act just like academics. Be a sucker and come right out and say, yeah, I'm a sucker. But I'm not alone. I got a whole nation supporting me. Everybody would have done the same thing I'd have done if a dude like you came and knocked me out. When I wake up, I'm calling the police. You got tricked. Now you got lawyers' fees. Now you got bail. Now you got assault. Never me. You're never going to play me out like that. You're not my equal. You're not worthy. If you were an actual threat to me, you wouldn't have nothing to worry about. Nothing at all. All your problems would be solved. They got to ask about. So anyway, Al goes into, how he met Tammy, how she was already operating, how she had gotten this other guy that she used to mess with that I guess she got mad at and went and told the feds that she knew about him and she could get him, and she got him and they gave her $55,000. And that's, I guess, how her professional confidential informant, light-skinned, high yellow, long hair, all the dudes go for me bullshit started. And she started, making her money doing that, aside, from doing the real estate thing, right? When I first was introduced to her, we talking. She put me on the phone with Ethan, like I said. He's asking me to tell him different things, about BMF, because he don't know about BMF. He asked about the yacht story, with Diddy and Jay-Z and all that, whatever, all that kind of stuff, whatever. I shared that before. Just kind of getting a feel for what the situation is, right? He told me he had asked 50, yo, do you know about this BMF thing? And 50 said, 50, he looked at me like, man, what is you, stupid? That's the biggest story in the 21st century. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you stupid, right? So this is a conversation, and I had a couple of conversations with Ethan and Tammy, right? Tammy put us on the phone, and I just talked to him, right? So I'm selling it, I'm selling it like, yo, dude, we need to do this. And this is, me and Meech are talking. It's not just one. You need to do like 3 movies. For you to do this thing right, you're going to need like 3 movies. So, every time, I didn't know what was going on with Tammy, but every time we were supposed to meet, land traffic is crazy, whatever. Every time we were supposed to meet, she'd come up with a reason not to. Last minute. Oh, the traffic is this. I got to go get my daughter from school, like this and the other. But what she was really doing was avoiding me. She was avoiding coming into contact with me, being around me, because she obviously picked up on the fact that I had enough sense to know whether or not, she was off or not. If I spend enough time around her, I'm a profiler, I'm going to know. Something ain't right. But by her doing what she was doing, I was like, something ain't right. We done had 3 different occasions on which we were supposed to meet, and 3 different times you gave me 3 different excuses. Like, something's not right. You're supposed to be working with me. You're supposed to be, trying to put this situation together. What are you doing? Like, what are you really doing? What's going on? So one day I asked, I said, yo, how you know me? And she gives me this elaborate lying-ass story that I didn't get a chance to verify with him, because right around this time, he gets jammed and they throw him in the hole, right? She tells me that he knew her daughter's father, who was in the street. He had gotten killed. Meech knew him. Meech had seen her before. So when that happened to her daughter's father, he was looking out for her, helping her out. That sounds like Meech. I've seen him do it. So, okay, that makes sense. And because I'm like, he gave you his life rights and nobody knows you. I'm talking to his mother. I'm talking to Little Meech's mom's sister all the time. And nobody knows you. So she says, Little Meech's aunt says to me one day, she said, Cavario, that lady got in contact with him by writing him letters in jail and telling him, she could help him and whatever. That's how she came through it. That's how I knew. I said, okay, she's been avoiding me on purpose. She has, and now that I realize now that I'm thinking about it, when he became indispensable, when he was unable to communicate, it was around the time that that whole Cuffy situation was coming into fruition. But we didn't know about it yet. That's why he got put in a hole and all of that, because his name got wrapped up in that. That's probably also why she all of a sudden became so difficult to get in contact with. Now I'm thinking about it. And so she was, a mystery to everybody. Nobody knew who she was, or where she really came from, or whatever. But Al really laid out the day. Al Prophet, American Dope. If y'all don't know, go on YouTube. My partner Al Prophet, he got a joint on there where he's talking about her whole trajectory, how she came around, how she got down, who she got locked up, how she got them locked up, how it is that Cuffy ended up getting involved because he wasn't a target when the agent that she was being handled by, figuratively and literally, professionally and literally, personally, when she was messing with this agent, and Al even showed a picture of this agent, and this is the first picture of this agent that I've ever seen. His name has come up a lot, but I've never seen his picture. I've got a picture of him, and he looked like the kind of guy that's like, oh my God, she's light skinned with a big butt, and she's got long hair, and she likes me. One of those guys that never had somebody he thought was bad, right? So she worked him. And he was giving her the budget money and all that, whatever, tricking the budget money on and all that type of stuff, whatever. That's what disenabled them from being able to make a case with Meech and Cuff on what Al concluded was something that they actually had going on. Meech and Cuff through Tammy, communicating through Tammy, connecting them or Cuff with this connect that Meech had met in jail on some other case that he got locked up on, the Connect guy. So they met. That's how they knew each other. So it looks like, based upon what the paperwork says, that Meech told Tammy, introduce homie to this dude, to the Connect dude. And that did happen. And they did, get a load going and all that. And for whatever reason, homie didn't go and get the load. And there's a whole bunch of messages to her from the Connect talking about, yo, homie didn't get the load. He ain't come grab the load. You know what I mean? And the DEA dude, I guess he's DEA or FBI dude, that she was messing with, he said he overheard this. He overheard this conversation. He overheard these interactions. Well, he overheard them apparently because he was laying in the bed with her, which all came out, So when this all started to come out, the paperwork started to come out, because Cuffy ends up, his name coming up in the situation causes the feds to be like, oh, Cuffy, we want him. We think he's done a couple of murders, but it's any other. He's a big time offender down that way, and we've been trying to get him for years. We couldn't get him. They're no longer interested in the Hispanic dude. They want Cuffy now, right? So he ends up catching a situation based upon this wiretapping that resulted from this interaction that had, nothing to do with what he's in jail for. You know what I mean? His contention is that she helped Meech trap him off. When that stuff was starting to come out after Cuffy got locked up, she went through a bunch of shit trying to get up to go see Meech so she could go and, explain herself. Explain like, look, this, and they heard like Al and what's the dude's name? Ben, damn, I can't think of his name right now. He's the guy who does he does true crime stuff. He's a true crime investigator, whatever. He does documentaries and stuff like that. Al's done a few things with him. Real professional dude. He heard the audio of the recording of Tammy telling Meech, yo, it just got, exposed that, I'm a confidential informant. And Meech's response is, keep my name out of it. That means I don't have nothing to do with whatever that is you're talking about, and make sure that it don't look like I got nothing to do with whatever you're talking about. That doesn't sound like somebody who knows what you're talking about. And it was pretty obvious from that interaction and her other actions, that he did not know that she had been a confidential informant. She was just somebody that he was trying to get to help connect the situation so that his man could get some money through this guy, and by way of that, get kicked back. A lot of guys do that. A lot of guys, when they get jammed, they get locked up, niggas go to jail, they be having mortgages to pay, car notes to pay, school tuition to pay. Little Meech's school was very expensive. He's been in private school since he was first in school. So he got kicked out. That thing with the weed and baby's nephew and baby's son, because they went to the same school. And they were older. And they got suspended. He got expelled. He was the 9th grader or something like that. They were like 11th and 12th grade. But supposedly he's running things. He's 9th grade. And ain't never been in the street in his life. So when that happened, the way that happened, it was pretty obvious that she was playing both ends against the middle. You know what I mean? She knew there was an opportunity for her to make some money with the Cuffy situation, since that's what they were interested in. She had a vested interest in Meech's well-being, right? So she wasn't trying to get him jammed. By her doing what she did with this federal agent, I don't know, and Al speculates he doesn't know whether or not she did it on purpose or not. But by her doing what she did, by getting involved with him, that disenabled them from being able to bring a case. Like it blew the whole case up. So whatever they could have done in terms of that whole Meech connecting Cuffy to the Hispanic connect through Tammy, the confidential informant, right? Which neither Meech, Cuffy, or the Spanish dude had any idea that this woman had been a professional confidential informant who didn't get busted or nothing like that. She didn't become a confidential informant because she had gotten in trouble or she was trying to get somebody else out of trouble. She did it for money. And Al read the paperwork where it said, the judge said, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this where a person was doing this and it wasn't for them to get themselves out of trouble or get somebody else out of trouble. It was strictly for the money. I've never seen it before. That's what the judge said. This is official record. This is something, it's public record. Anybody can look up. But suckers are not, they're not interested in looking up anything. Suckers just like to run their mouths like they have vaginas, just to run their mouths. Because again, suckers are not accustomed to people listening to them. They're not accustomed to people being interested in their perspectives or their angle or their ideas or their opinions. They're not accustomed to that. So the internet has given them a unique opportunity to be validated, whereas they were never validated. Their mother and father didn't want to hear what they had to say. Their girl didn't want to hear what they got to say. Their own children want to hear what they got to say. Everybody knows that what they have to say is unimportant. It's not thoughtful. It doesn't add any value to anything. But there's a lot of them. I mean, there's a lot. They got to represent like 85% of the population. They have to. Suckers. You know what I mean? And they know who they are. They know who they are. They're not really confused about it. They know who they are. Sucker know he's a sucker. You know what I mean? But that piece that Al did is very, very dope, bro. Very, very dope. So I mean, what's your perspective on that whole situation?
I mean, I know, I know what happened. So I already knew that I knew the truth. So I wasn't, jaded or thrown off. But when 50 started posting where he was, I was kind of waiting for him to respond, because once I seen Rick Ross, I already knew that was gonna happen.
You already knew it.
I already knew that was gonna happen. I was like, he don't rock like that. 50 don't rock like that. You can't go get money with a nigga that I'm not cool with, even though that's just how he rock. And I watched him do that to all the niggas that have been signed to him, to everybody around. Like he just do that. He did that to his cousin. He did that to Who Kid. And I'm like, if you're gonna do that to your family, you definitely gonna do that to them niggas.
That's Sha Money's cousin, but
yeah, Sha.
Yeah, he did the Sha.
Yeah, he did do it to Sha.
You know what I mean? Like everybody. But it is everybody else though. And you know how you know it's everybody else? Because he has the most money and the most notoriety. So by virtue of that, if I'm a simple-minded sucker, then that's what it is. Money wins, because they got vaginas. But yeah, that's his MO, Brody. As you know, that's his MO. And the fact that, and I thought about this too as I was reading his comments, and I'm just looking at these. I'm like, it has to suck to be you, bro. I mean, like, really, in real life, it has to suck to be one of these dudes, man. Because it's like you really don't have a brain cell of any use at all. Like, you're literally making comments about things that you know nothing about, but that you could very easily, the same way you type that dumb shit you just typed, you could have just as easily typed my name. And all this validating, historically factual information, independent of what I've shared, would just roll right out on your screen. Then, if you had any sense, you could do some like logic, and then you could add 1 and 1 and be like, oh, that's 2, yeah. Oh, I guess this man is who he says he is, and has done and been who he has shared with us that he's done and been. Like, it's not hard, but it won't serve a sucker's ego, though. See, a sucker wants to think everybody's a sucker. A sucker wants to think everybody's pretending. They don't want to believe that the bar is actually that high. They want to believe that people are just really good at making it seem like it's that high. But I can tell you right now, if you live long enough, you're going to find out all too late you are wrong as I don't know what. You're going to find out. That's a fact. That's why I say what I say, like, I believe it's going to be a mass wave of, cats undoing themselves. I believe it's going to be a mass wave, bro. I mean, the whole drugging yourself out, drinking yourself out, smoking yourself out, that is a form of self-unaliving. That's a form of it. It starts with the mind. Try to dead the thoughts that make them think, I ain't shit. I'm hopeless. There's no value to me. Nobody cares about me. Nobody cares about my opinion or what I have to say. It seems like everybody else is important to somebody except me. Pill pop. Drink. After a while, that doesn't work. You used to feel good doing it. Now you don't feel good so much. You're just doing it. After a while, because you're doing it, you won't even be able to afford to do it. Then what you gonna do? When reality runs over you like a Mack truck, what are you gonna do then? You're gonna pop off, son. I'm telling you. That's what's going to happen. But, what do I know? You know what I mean? It's that's what I'm saying. Like, this conversation that Akbar is having with the sister, my angel Cody, the lawyer, these topics about the degree of incarceration that we suffer within our community. The kinds of verbiage that they're using. That's what cats should be familiar with. That's what they should be paying attention to. You running around in the streets, you're doing like this kid I saw the other day on Instagram. I sent it to you. 16-year-old kid. They got him for a murder. He was also charged with another attempted murder. He walks in, he got one of them stupid shirts that they got that like a flower print, puffy flower print all over, you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Right? I don't know what that is, but I see a bunch of fools wearing it. So he walks in with that, he's feeling himself. Big kid, 16 years old, but he's he looked like a big kid compared to the two men that brought him in, the guards that brought him in, the court guards that brought him in, court officers, right? So the judge tells him, not, you got 25 years. It's not a sentencing. He just simply telling him, you're not going home. You're not, there's no mommy picking you up. We're going to hold you here because you got attempt murder and you're here for a murder. You done killed some kid who was on his way to go get medication for his mother, and you rock him, right? And when they told that kid, when he told the kid, he first started telling the kid, like, yeah, so, we're going to hold them here, whatever, you're going to hold you. He starts wiping, the tears. And then they had to hold him up. He was collapsing. But you killed the kid. You attempted to kill another kid. And now you're collapsing? Not because the man said 25 years of life, because the man said you can't go home.
It's because they be getting them go home so many times that when they finally got to sit there and deal with their consequences, they be like, for real? I got to stay? I was just sitting in the back and niggas was talking about how he letting them go home. I thought I was going to go home too.
It's insanity, bro. Like, the fact that they don't have the wherewithal to literally put their consequences or the potential consequences of their action, the inevitable consequences. I say the consequences are inevitable because they are not professional outlaws. They're just ignorant kids doing random things. So it's inevitable. You're going to get jammed. That's inevitable. You're going to get jammed. For you not to have any clue whatsoever as to what the potential consequences of your behavior are, like none at all, to be completely unfamiliar with things like bail, clemency, pardons, sentencing guidelines, like all the kinds of things that are par for the course for a person that is on the path of criminality. And you don't have no clue about none of it. None whatsoever. You don't know nothing about nothing. This is an issue. This is a huge issue. Like, for real. For these kids to be doing as much as they do and not have any clue about what can potentially happen from these things. This is what makes them dangerous. It's not the switches and the drums and the titties or whatever other cartoon character shit. It's their ignorance.
Yeah.
That's what makes them dangerous.
Because they'll just keep doing random outlandish stuff, and then it's like, bro, you don't even know that you are a crazy person. And they're not even just going to lock you. They're going to lock you away from everybody. They don't know that's the thing. They don't know that, no, you're not going to jail. You're going to isolation.
Right.
We're putting you by yourself.
Right.
They think they're going to go there and be around their homies and their friends and their gang. And no, we're going to break you.
Right. By themselves. I was talking to some people from Vice yesterday, right? And I can't speak on what it was about, but we were talking about there was a young man and his partner / boss, a white woman, was a young black brother who initially contacted me. And when he was asking me, questions about a particular subject that they are interested in doing a series on or documentary on. And when I was explaining to him that a particular individual whom we were discussing had been put into isolation for a long time, how I knew the person before they had went away, and I knew the person, when they initially, obviously we were still in contact when they went away. And then the difference between their personality before they got put in the hole, like after going to jail, they were the same person they were in the street, attitude wise. Then, what up, Boog? Then, after isolation, they was locked up, for a few years, no problem. But after that isolation, and I'm talking about total isolation, they were in isolation for like some years, but like not like a roommate or with proximity to someone else who's being held in another cell. No one, no contact with anybody. Most people have never had that degree of isolation. They haven't had that degree of isolation since they were in the womb. They have no idea what it is to be left alone with their own thoughts for long periods of times, hours, days, weeks, months, years, without having anybody to, you don't know whether the voice that you're hearing is your own or someone else's.
You lose concept of time.
What experience? What up,
you don't feel
Jay Webb?
You don't feel blowing air. You don't feel air hit your skin. It's just dry air. You don't feel wind. You don't feel rain. Like certain things that your body just needs to the sun. You don't feel the sun hit your face. Like the level of isolation and the things that you go through, you will never recognize the things that are privileges because you're free until you have that shit taken away. You like, oh shit, I ain't had ketchup in 4 years. Then you like, something as simple as ketchup? Nigga, ketchup in 4 years. You ain't had a food that was properly seasoned where you like, this shit tastes good. 15, 20 years. The whole time you're not eating good. You eating bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, what up, Rich Porter 25? I'm just looking at something. What up, Ed Morning in the building? A lot of cats do not understand, and I don't know how you really convey as a parent, how you convey the understanding of what you just shared just now. Like I warned you about a lot of things when you were, and I was patient. I was articulate. I tried multiple angles because I understood what it was you were on the path towards, what you were on the trajectory towards.
You even let them take me to Rikers for that field trip when I was at alternative school.
Yep.
That was the worst trip ever. Nigga grabbed the back of the nigga head and said, I'll kiss you in the mouth. I was like, whoa, this is wow.
Right. In real time, what you gonna do, kid? You got a knife this long.
Yes.
Right? He want to kiss. What you gonna do?
And his boyfriend a gangster. His boyfriend the leader of the Bloods.
Yeah.
And he let him have niggas on the side.
Yeah. What you gonna do? This is what you subjecting yourself to. What you gonna do? Shout out to the homie Havoc. Check that joint out right there. I'm gonna give you our review soon on it. Check that out. Bird in my eyes. Sound view. Stand up. It's not easy, man. Especially if you had a cushy child life. You know what I mean? It's difficult to give that other perspective verbally. It's difficult to say, you live in a comfortable home and you have everything you want, but there are people, like I used to constantly tell you, there are people who ain't got none of this. They don't even have a me. They ain't got a father, But if all you've known is having, then what does that really mean to you? That don't even, you're not around people who don't have it. I got it, but I don't got it.
That's why you be like, go to your grandmother's house.
Yes.
Yo, oh, you want to live like that? Go to your grandmother's house.
Your grandma's house. Go.
You want to live like savage? Go to your grandmother's house.
Yeah. Go spend the summer. Go spend the summer over there.
Go over there and figure out what you're going to eat every night.
Yeah.
You just, when she out in the club, your mother out in there, and you just there figuring out what you got to eat every goddamn night.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You know, it's difficult. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing with the YN brain training. You know what I mean? And when I say YN, I mean young negus. You know, I mean, you know, NEGUS. You know what I mean? Like young kings. This is the YN brain training. You know, training people from Raised by Wolves, using the lessons from Raised by Wolves, letting them engage my story. You know, highlighting those points where I use my head to get through a lot of very dangerous, very life-threatening, freedom-threatening, sanity-threatening situations, while I'm watching people drop to the left and right of me on a daily basis. You know, it's very difficult, especially with sucker culture at the height that it is. Sucker culture is at an all-time height because you have suckers being celebrated. It doesn't really give a young kid who should be developing character and should be tuning into character developing, you know, influences. It doesn't really give him the encouragement to want to do that, right? Because developing character requires sacrifice. It means not doing what everybody else is doing, not getting down like everybody else is getting down. It means having a sense or belief of missing out, you know. But if you're not there, you know, for what you think is, you know, the good shit, you're also not there for the bullshit. And you know, missing the good shit, that ain't gonna kill you. Being there for the bullshit, knock you right off. There's a lot of kids that left out the house to go do some, you know, random thing and never made it back home for one reason or another. Never made it back home. All right, Ma, I'm going to hang out with my friends, whatever. We going to so-and-so's house to play video games. Next thing you know, the mother get a call that they are in a whole other town or on the other side of town, and they've been involved in some, you know, incident, and we'll need you to come and identify the body, or we'll need you to come and, come and pick him up from the station. You know, he's one of the survivors. It's difficult to convey to a kid who is trying to be cool, and suckers are determining what cool is, how important it is for him to think for himself. And when I was coming up, the kids that were exposed to the influences of criminality were the poor kids, the number twos, you know, the kids that didn't have family structure, whatever, and mommy's alcoholic, daddy's a dope fiend, missing in action. Number twos, and of course, number threes, like myself, right? Number ones had a clear lane to leave their house, go to work, go to school, go to church, and come home, and not be imposed upon, not have access to the influences of crime culture, and let alone sucker culture, because sucker culture couldn't breathe back then. It couldn't breathe, you know, because mainstream normal people, they kept their kids away from that. When if you were a kind of kid, like if say you were a two, and you got on what I'm talking about, go check out some of my most recent posts. I reposted these 2 videos about number 1s, 2s, and 3s in the hood and how it all got screwed up. But if you were a 2 in the neighborhood and you came from a 1 family, once you brought your look at your little 2 friends had all the liberty in the world because nobody was home. They could come and go, do what they want, whatever. And you thought that was so cool. They moved like a grown up. And you bring their ass around your 1 family, and your mother be like, I don't like him. Don't bring him back around here. You can't play with him. That can't be your friend. I don't want him in my house. And like you really didn't have much of a choice because Harlem was a village. So if you did something on 8th Avenue, by the time you got to 7th Avenue where you lived, your mother already knew. She outside with the wash rag and it's wet. She gonna start shewapping. You know what I mean? It was very, very controlled environment type of thing. You could more so influence your children and their behaviors back then, more so. And of course, threes like myself, we had very passing interactions with the ones. The twos kind of lingered around, you know what I mean? But the ones, they kind of came and went, and we knew them growing up, whatever, but we never really knew them. We just knew you from the neighborhood, whatever. Might know a name, maybe y'all were the same school, but really didn't know them like that. Right? Certainly wasn't coming to your house, you wasn't going to theirs. But their parents knew what your parents did, and they didn't want you nowhere near them. Social media, and the first social media, youth social media, really, for contemporary times, was like the rap culture. That was like the first social media, where all these different types of kids from these different types of homes started to come together in a common space under the auspices of partying, hanging out, having fun, dancing, and stuff like that, right? Kids who otherwise wouldn't have any. It's like, you didn't go to my church. If you one of them church people, from the one time you didn't go to my church, I didn't really know you, hang out with you, and spend time with you. I spend time with my friends that go to church with, because those are the approved associations that I have. When the hip hop thing started to become prevalent, say early 80s, going into the mid 80s, that's when you started seeing more of a mixing between the ones and the twos, you know what I mean? All aspiring to look like the threes, because that's what the rappers that they were watching and emulating were getting their attitude, style, and behavior from, the threes. Right? So that confluence, that mixing of the influence of the rappers who were getting their cues from the threes, the street people who were, attracting the twos and the ones, and the twos trying to convince the ones that they really threes, influencing the ones to act more like twos, all that stuff happening all at once started to give way to the rise of sucker culture. The first time that I ever heard anybody say anything about fronting in a positive way, because that was a fighting word. Yo, you fronting now. But you calling me a sucker. You saying I'm not about what I present myself to be about. First time I heard somebody say that in a way that was some type of positive connotation to it, LL Cool J, Booming System. Fronting in my ride and my word is bond. What? You either fronting or your word is bond. You ain't fronting and your word is bond. But that's what happens when you have James is a one. When we were little kids, James was a one. I knew James' grandma. My godmother Sandra and James's grandmother, LL's grandmother, they were neighbors and best friends. I'm saying this publicly. I mean, James knows this, obviously, he knows this. We talked about this, but like he, kind of like king of the suckers. You know what I mean? Like, this is how this became prevalent. I'm telling y'all some real shit.
Nigga made sucker songs. Nigga said, plus he smoked too much, he smoked too many Philly blunts. How you hating on the nigga? How you trying to take a nigga girl, but talking about he do something too much? Leave that nigga girl alone. You gonna take on your own merit. Don't hate on that nigga, boy.
Yo, we fucking that girl over there, right? You know he be lying to you. He really be at her house, Them dudes. we call them soft. We used to call them niggas soft dick niggas. Tender dick niggas. That's what we call them. But yeah, man. Like that's it. The rise of sucker culture, man. That's what we contending with, bro. That's what we contending with. But that's our time. We got 15 seconds. So I'm going to just say, always think critically so you can live wonderfully.
Miami, we out there. We gonna
Love
be
you,
in
son.
there. Mom is throwing it up. Real shit. It's gonna be
No, you can have it. You can have